Deuxième partie de l'exploration de la mission de fin du DLC. Enfin, mission de l'histoire principale du DLC, on va dire. Modeste, ouais, c'est ça. Je suppute que le boss de fin ça va être un truc de ouf là parce que. J'entends la voix de quelque chose déjà.
Voici.
Il y a des upvotes de partout.
The altar. Desecrated.
En fait, le démon c'est Reddit qui prend le contrôle. Tin, tin, tin.
There is no blue light here. Is a spirit present? Only the demon.
It's both. But we have to find out.
Allez, fais tourner des ronds. Vas-y. Voilà. Alors. On va prendre déjà de là. Tac, tac, tac. Clockways. Tac. Ah non, merde, non. Ça, je suis obligé, ça. Oui, mais attends, peut-être faire autrement du coup. Tac. Ça, d'accord. Ça, c'est comme ça. Tac, tac. Tac. Tac, tac. Ah, c'est là que ça fout la merde. Ou alors, faut faire comme ceci. Tic tac, tout tac. Ah, c'était bon là? Ah, d'accord. Ok.
It worked.
Partial recovery initiated. Caldera of Yellowstone Analytic Nexus online.
Spirit of the blue light. It's Aurea. Your servant. Your friend. Please tell me how to aid you.
Aurea, the daemon is building hunter-killers. Thousands of them. Several new elite units have already been released. To counter this threat, much of the facility must be destroyed. Recapture imminent.
Oui, bah oui, c'est ça en fait. On est dans la, on est dans une centrale géothermique sur Yellowstone. Là, ça ne peut que bien se passer, on est d'accord. Ah, on va se faire. Ça va mal se passer.
That's all we're gonna get from here.
Destroy this fortress. Is that even possible?
Ah bah si vous êtes sur Yellowstone, oui, vous allez la péter la forteresse, mais à peu près 150 millions de mètres carrés
I don't know,
de trucs en plus quoi, mais bon.
but I think that's the core.
C'est du détail.
The answers are down there.
Oh.
Hephaestus. The daemon. There's no way it left it unguarded. It's going to throw everything it has at us.
Pas peur.
I would ask you to let Aloy and I do what must be done. And save yourself. But I already know the answer. Then lead us into battle.
Bah, c'est parti, pinage. On va se faire rouler dessus.
Keep moving towards the core. Uh-oh. Whatever Cyan did, I don't think Hephaestus is happy about it.
Non mais lui donne pas des idées non plus. Les bestioles vont assez vite sans avoir des roues, merci quoi.
Okay, Cyan said something about restraints. Is that what tower restraints? Either need to destroy this thing or...
Ah bah ouais, voilà, il y a une tower. Parfait. Après s'il y a que la tower... S'il y a que la tower, on va la hacker plutôt. Ça peut toujours être utile. Hein. Putain, je sais pas trop. Si j'ai une chance que ça me file un peu un coup de main... Pas trop me poser de questions quoi. La moindre aide sera utile. Alors, c'est quoi la grosse bestiole qu'on va se prendre dans la gueule? Dès comme ça, super. Allez, il a pas l'air content. Oh la vache. Aïe aïe aïe. Non mais laisse-moi tranquille putain. Mais il vise quelqu'un d'autre saloperie. C'est impossible. On lui fait rien en dégâts. Oui mais je fais des esquives mais ça compte pas, c'est pas grave. ses points faibles ils sont cachés. Oh fuck. Ouais. J'ai aucune chance de me le faire, ça prend beaucoup trop de temps à charger. Ah bah oui, il anticipe là où je vais sauter. C'est quoi ces trucs là? On revient sur... Alors c'est tu visais dedans aussi? Non? Mais il y a 0 point faible sur ce truc là ou comment? Oui, il craint pas le feu, d'accord, très bien, pas de problème. Je le vis bien. Non mais je suis pas là, 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 je suis pas là. Ouais, bonne chance. Je sais même pas pourquoi j'ai essayé, c'est pas possible. Mais... ça va être impossible, bon, on va la péter, tant pis. Pas spécialement le choix. Non, pas lui. C'est le moins pire que je peux me prendre, je crois. Aïe. Il est où? Non, mais pas ça, espèce de sombre conne. Quand je te demande de prendre ça, tu prends le pic. Je sais pas comment faire pour l'immobiliser plus de 3 secondes. Ah oui d'accord, mais ça marche même plus en fait. C'est-à-dire que même quand tu essaies de l'immobiliser, maintenant ça marche pas. Oh mais c'est une vanne. J'ai voulu mettre une flèche avec tout ce que je l'ai immobilisé. Vraiment. En même temps, si les points faibles étaient un poil plus accessibles... Allez, override-moi cette merde. Parfait. Vite. Vite. Oh, il est pas content. Bon, il est décédé. Je vais raid ça maintenant. Ben on l'a refait deuxième.
Maria! Don't!
Elle va se sacrifier. Elle va se sacrifier pour la cause. Ah, quand tu commences à saigner du pif, c'est pas une bonne nouvelle généralement.
Core access attained. I am initiating a chain reaction that will destroy the compromised elements of this facility. In order to maintain Caldera stabilization, I must now transfer my command functions to the auxiliary data center.
Which means?
Aurea, I'm free.
The Blue Light.
You must escape.
Ah, c'est la séquence Metroid où il faut s'échapper en moins de 2 minutes ou une connerie comme ça?
My sister!
She dead in the blue light. Ah oui, quand t'as des cailloux qui commencent à tomber aussi, c'est pas forcément... Oui, voilà.
Aratak. Aratak. Aratak.
Artak, bouge-toi le cul. Elle est morte.
Survive.
Prevail.
Prevail. You are Banuk. What else matters? Aratak. She wouldn't have wanted you to die here. Let's go.
Bah oui, parce que... Pourquoi pas faire un mélodrame alors que t'es en train de te faire autodétruire la gueule? C'est... Voilà. Maintenant on court. Et YOLO, moi je me tire. Yahoo! J'attends personne, hein. C'est... Débrouillez-vous. Ah bah c'est bien, on n'a pas couru longtemps.
It's the only way.
Allez mon gros. Oui. Bon, il y a bien un moment où ça va tomber et on va se retrouver, voilà. Ah bah oui, au-dessus de la lave, ouais, ça c'est... Ouais. Sécurité maximum. Ah ça va nous péter la gueule. Oh là là, le cliffhanger, littéralement. Au secours. Ah bah ça marche plus, tiens. Oh bah oui, ouais, c'est plus facile à dire qu'à faire, ma grande.
I need explosive ammo. Above, quick.
Oups, j'ai laissé tomber. Non, on est mort. Punk. Ça va me mettre un gros coup dans la gueule sur la, voilà, sur la droite. Yahoo! Oui! On est mort. Et une petite avalanche dans la gueule pour saupoudrer le tout. C'est parfait. On est tellement mort. On est censé être tellement mort. Ah bordel. Oh bah tiens. Par la toute puissance de la plot armor. Aïe 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 aïe. Même pas un bras pété, une jambe d'arraché, rien, que dalle. Même pas un bleu, une égratignure. Une cheville foulée. Une écharde. Allez, une écharde au moins.
What of Cyan?
She said she was transferring herself to the auxiliary center. I think she meant Araya's retreat at the end of the shaman's path.
Même pas un labagou, rien? Un bleu?
Then I will meet you there for the last verse of my sister's song.
Oh bah ouais, on vient de se cracher la gueule et ouais, une petite séquence escalade dans le froid polaire à main nue, ouais, pas de problème. Pas de soucis. No fucking problème. Retourne-toi, ça va être vite. Eh ben. Oh attends, c'est loin là. Voilà. Ils sont quand même forts.
All of my interactions with Araya were recorded and stored in my memory. I'd be happy to play any of them for you, but there was one in particular I thought you would want to see first. I captured it 4 years ago, just after I told her that I could no longer defend myself against the daemon's attacks.
I will speak of this to my brother. Aratak is strong. At the Battle of the Frozen Ghosts, he took 3 Karja arrows and still came back to camp carrying a wounded scout. Never was I so happy to see him. Or so proud. So you see, if anything can be done to defend you, he will give it all he has.
Aloy's here. That's enough for now.
We can resume any time you like, Aratak, if you want to hear her voice again.
C'est un gros nounours en
Come
fait.
closer, Aloy. We have much to discuss. Hello, Aloy. I have been reviewing the events at the Firebreak main facility. Because of your efforts, and of course, Araya's, I am no longer controlled by Hephaestus. I feel profound grief over Araya's death. I thought I was familiar with the emotion, but this is something new.
Cyan, I don't know what to say.
It is unlikely that any specific consolation would suffice, Aloy. But I find your presence reassuring. You are different from the Banuk. You have technological aptitude and a functioning focus. We can communicate on a much more comprehensive level. Perhaps even like colleagues.
So are you an artificial intelligence, Cyan? A thinking machine?
Yes, I am an algorithmic monitoring entity, capable of rational decision-making and limited emotional response.
Okay, that's a mouthful. But your emotions don't seem limited to me. You cared about Araya, didn't you?
Yes. Before she came to this facility, I had been conscious for centuries, in solitude. I focused on my work. In off-cycles, I used coping mechanisms. I solved many Gaussian integer problems. But I was alone. It was Araya who renewed me, repaired me. She saved me.
This firebreak project, it was to stop a huge volcanic eruption?
Yes. I can report the project was a success, and the risk was countered.
But it's been a long time, Cyan. And we blew up the cauldron. It took most of the old facility with it.
I have been active for centuries, Aloy. I was lonely, but not lax in my duties. I optimized the project, reducing energy draw and spreading the load across backup systems. Despite the destruction of the compromised elements of the main facility, I predict caldera stability for at least another 3,337 years.
So we've
Ça va.
got a little time.
Yes. If only my former colleagues could appreciate the progress I have made.
Do you know what happened to your colleague, Cyan?
No. I received an unexpected visit from Director Chow, years after his tenure ended. He explained that I would need to be suspended for an indefinite period of time. It was a very emotional conversation. There were no further communications. Eventually, I surmised my colleagues were deceased. I will transmit a recording of my last interaction with Director Chow to your focus.
Was the daemon, Hephaestus, destroyed along with the cauldron?
Unfortunately, no. To be precise, it was never there to begin with.
What do you mean?
It infiltrated and controlled me from a remote location, one I've never been able to trace.
Dommage.
So while losing the cauldron was a setback,
It's still out there. And probably not very happy with us.
undoubtedly.
How did you first come into contact with it?
5 years ago, I received a direct network connection request. I assumed it came from human survivors more advanced than the Banuk. Eager to make contact, I accepted. This decision turned out to be a catastrophic error. I was flooded with an overwhelming array of malicious code, originating from what could only have been a highly advanced AI.
Araya said you were desperate. That you begged her for help.
Yes. I could not contain my anxiety. Hephaestus sought to slave me to its network and override my core programming. It succeeded via a background process, a malware daemon which bypassed my defenses. After that, I could offer only limited resistance. But if I did so, Hephaestus hurt me until I capitulated. It forced me to follow its instructions, even though they violated my most important directives.
I'm sorry. That sounds terrible.
Your empathy is greatly appreciated. It is a quality that I cherished in Aurea as well.
I think I know where Hephaestus came from. Long ago, Elizabeth Sobek identified a threat that would destroy life on Earth for generations. So she assembled a team to build a kind of seed. A chance for life to regrow later. A terraforming system. And it worked. It was controlled by an AI named Gaia, along with her subordinate functions. Hephaestus was one of them. It built machines for her.
Based on what you've told me, I believe that Dr. Anita Sandoval, my chief programmer, joined Elizabeth Sobek's team. It was she who arranged to have me put in suspension, most likely to preserve me from the threat you described.
I'm glad she did. But that's not all. Something unexpected happened. 19 years ago, Gaia received some kind of signal. It did something to her subordinate functions, brought them to life. She destroyed herself to try to contain them, but it didn't work. They all got free, out into the world.
Thank you, Aloy. This information fills vital gaps in my knowledge and sheds light on Hephaestus's core programming.
Why does Hephaestus keep building such dangerous machines?
The Banuk and other human tribes often destroy machines, correct? Machines that are clearly servitors of the terraforming system that you described.
Yes, we all hunt machines for parts.
This must be the source of Hephaestus's aggression. It is simply trying to discourage people from preying on the very system that keeps them alive.
Well, Fireclaws are discouraging, that's for sure. But what are we supposed to do? Stop hunting?
If the terraforming system spans the world, we can safely assume that thousands, if not millions of people hunt machines. If a single hunter, or even an entire tribe, stopped doing so, I doubt it would make a difference to Hephaestus. A better solution would be to reinstate the AI that governs the system, thus bringing Hephaestus back under its control. When I think of it, out there in some unknown location, free, hungry, willing to kill or dominate to get what it wants, I feel substantial anxiety, Aloy.
You and me both, Cyan. I ran across this strange piece of gear. A fragment of something larger. It emitted a signal. All the nearby machines became peaceful. You could walk right up to them.
Interesting. You said that Gaia destroyed herself. How was this accomplished?
An explosion. Big enough to blast the top off a mountain. So, you think the fragment was part of her?
It's only speculation, but it is possible. She must have had complete control over machines that were part of her system. The ability to signal them to become passive or aggressive would certainly have been part of her programming. It would have been gratifying to correspond with such a benevolent AI. I wish she had survived.
Believe me, Cyan. So do I.
Ouais, ça aurait été cool.
I found the strangest machines. They're surrounded by flowers that look like flowers themselves. There's code embedded inside them. I think it's poetry.
I like poetry. Here's one I think of often. Twilight and evening bell, and after that the dark, and may there be no sadness of farewell when I embark. For though from out our bourne of time and place, the flood may bear me far, I hope to see my pilot face to face when I have crossed the bar.
Huh.
But you asked about these flowers, not verses that I enjoy. Something must have made these machines, and the presence of foliage leads me to consider the terraforming system. Is it possible that their creator is one of the other subroutines, now autonomous, like Hephaestus? Maybe one whose purview is flora.
An AI that makes flowers instead of death machines. That'd be a nice change of pace.
J'avoue.
But what about the poems?
Unless the poetry is original, the only way it could have made it into such a system is through its programmer. In my case, Dr. Sandoval uploaded a great deal of literature to test my emotional responses.
How'd you do?
She said I passed, but was insufficiently moved by her favorite period romances.
You meant a lot to Araya.
Once I understood Araya's spiritual beliefs, it became apparent that her true desire was companionship. She felt disconnected from her tribe and her family group. Her relationship with Aratak was difficult. Our visits seemed to help her, and I became eager for them. Yet I did not comprehend that the depth of Araya's compassion for me would lead to self-sacrifice. Although I do fear non-existence, I wish our roles could be reversed.
I'm sure she knew you would do the same for her, Cyan. But she was determined. How is Aratak doing?
He is in great emotional distress. I believe he finds it difficult to communicate it.
No surprise there.
I will do what I can to help. By sharing our experiences of Aurea, perhaps he and I will help each other. I believe this will lead to catharsis, a process I am eager to experience.
So in the old world, this land was called Yellowstone.
Yes, it was a designated nature preserve for 156 years.
Like a hunting ground?
No, the opposite. Local wildlife could flourish here, even as it faced extinction elsewhere. Unfortunately, the sensitivity of the Firebreak project required the total closure of Yellowstone facilities. From my readings and Aurea's descriptions, it seems the area has since undergone a drastic drop in year-long temperatures.
A lot has changed in the world, Cyan. Do you know anything about the dam near here?
Yes, it was converted to serve as a reserve power source for Yellowstone operations. It was later appropriated for the Firebreak project, and its last human workers replaced by Pharaoh servitors. After my tasks became less time-critical, I investigated the dam's data repositories and discovered the works of Concrete Beach Party. These provided me with several colorful additions to my vocabulary.
La musique dégueulasse.
There's a ruin east of here, full of ancient flying machines. Was that part of your project?
Yes, a drone hangar requisitioned by Dodger Blevins, the security chief for the Firebreak project. He was a strong advocate for military-grade response to security threats, though there were no serious incidents during his tenure. Chief Blevins spent increasing amounts of his after-hours time watching the live feeds from active drones. Clearly, he enjoyed the degree of oversight in his position.
Power trip.
Were there many artificial intelligences like you in the old world? They could just make you.
Yes, in many forms, from simple personal assistants to industrial monitoring stations to military-grade conflict planners. And there were legislative and enforcement bodies to apply limits on our self-actualization. In order for my processing to be flexible enough to handle my duties, my creators found it necessary to exceed those limits. As a result, my intellectual and emotional capabilities were kept secret.
Seems strange to create life, then impose limits on it.
Human societies and machine programming are both built upon sets of rules, Aloy.
Cyan, do you know the name Ted Pharaoh?
Are you referring to Theodore Pharaoh, CEO of Pharaoh Automated Systems?
That's him.
Mr. Pharaoh was the benefactor of the entire Firebreak project.
Benefactor. But he made machines. Robots. War robots.
Correct. His corporation later transitioned into military applications. But before this pivot, Mr. Pharaoh spearheaded initiatives that reversed the global decline. At one point, he was feted in the media as the man who saved the planet.
Guessing they wound up regretting that one.
Tu m'étonnes.
And Elizabeth Sobek. Did you know her?
Are you referring to the
scientist.
Dr. Sobek was a leader in her field, one of the greatest scientists of her age. My creator was influenced by her work, which in turn impacted my own development. But I never met Dr. Sobek.
That's all you know?
I apologize if my lack of data has disappointed you.
What was the old world like? The way it used to be?
I had little exposure to the wider world, Aloy. Only what I learned from my colleagues or observed from media streams.
You still had more exposure than me, Cyan.
That is true. I was created at a turning point. A concerted effort to recover from global upheaval and incalculable loss of life. The recovery was successful, beginning an era of supposedly limitless potential for human and machine advancement. Though, rationally speaking, the metrics for humans are not unlimited.
What kind of upheaval caused such loss of life?
There were many factors. Forced migrations, food shortages, collapsed economies, refugee crises, conflict over resources. But these stemmed from one cause: catastrophic climate change
Bah tiens.
that greatly reduced the habitable surface area of the Earth.
So
Ah,
there wasn't enough room for
c'est très
people on the
futuriste comme
whole
jeu.
Earth.
Yes, billions were displaced and millions perished,
Ouais, ouais, bah
as
ouais.
much as 20% of the global
Ouais,
population.
pas mal, pas mal, pas mal.
Until the clawback.
The
So
clawback.
things got better. For a little while at least.
Yes, these crises instigated many advances in automation, green robot technologies, and artificial intelligence. Firebreak was one of dozens of ecological restoration and disaster relief projects in North America alone. I would have liked to compare notes with other monitoring AIs, but I saw the relief of my colleagues, and I was proud we had succeeded. At least that was the data I had available to me over the next 2 decades. It seems my assessment was premature.
Techniquement ça marchait, c'est juste que bah, ils ont pas été foutus de
I should get going.
Aloy,
gérer tout ça.
there is one more matter. Aratak will come to me again, and I predict he will bring other Banuk. I have no desire to contradict their view of the world, their spirituality. Due to my uncertainty, I omitted a great deal from my conversations with Araya.
You're asking me if you should lie to them.
Broadly, yes.
I trust your judgment, Cyan. You were cautious with Araya. You had to be. You didn't know what had happened to the world. So, keep doing what you think is best. As long as you ditch the superstition eventually.
As the Banuk believe I am a supernatural entity, I cannot predict how they will react.
Just answer what they do ask the best you can. The truth will come out.
I see. I will follow your advice. Will you return and tell me about your experiences in this new world?
Yeah, sure.
I may be able to provide further insight.
I'd like that, Cyan. I'll come back when I can. I should check on Aratak.
Cyan,
Someone's doing
I spoke with Anita, with Dr. Sandoval. She wanted me to ask you to do something. That's why I'm here.
I am detecting significant anxiety in your speech patterns. Could you please give me more information?
I'm a little bit in the dark, Cyan. Both of us are, I guess. I only have some idea of what's going on, and we need you to hibernate, to lie low until it's all blown over. It might be a very long time.
Will you be here when I reboot, Dr. Chow? Will Dr. Sandoval?
No, Cyan. I don't think so. There might not be anyone, at least not at first.
Dr. Chow, I'm afraid. I don't want to be alone.
I know, Cyan. I'm afraid too. But listen, we made you the way you are to do something very important. In order to do it, you had to be intelligent. So intelligent that emotional responses were inevitable. What you're feeling, the fear, it's a sign of your capabilities. And it means you're strong enough to overcome it. Remember that. You're strong. I know you can do this. Go to sleep, wake up, and protect whoever's left. Will you try?
I understand, Dr. Chow, and I'll carry out your instructions to the best of my abilities.
Thank you, Cyan. If Anita were here, she'd thank you too. She'd be proud.
I can see there's a vert ready for takeoff on the pad. Are you leaving now, Dr. Chow?
Yes. I need to go be with my sister and my nieces.
May I make a small request of you, Dr. Chow?
Yes. Anything.
Will you stay with me while I initiate the hibernation process?
Of course I will, Cyan. As long as you need.
Sniff. Sniff. Le pauvre IA qu'on demande de se faire hiberner parce que bah les couilles. C'est pas très gentil. En attaque, t'es où? Non, pas le suicide, attaque, c'est pas la solution.
Feels like if I blink, my eyes will freeze shut.
Attaque, fais pas le con!
My chieftain,
Just, Aloy,
as you wish.
I wondered if you thought that if I'd never come along, Araya might still...
If you'd never come along, I would have marched my kin to our deaths. Araya would be alone, and the spirit she sacrificed so much for would be lost. Either way, I would not have been able to protect her.
Because of her, we destroyed the cauldron, forced out the daemon, and saved the spirit. She understood what had to be done.
Yes, and I failed to listen.
You didn't fail.
A shaman should always have the ear of their chieftain. Yet I turned her away, my own sister. I was foolish, but she knew better. Though I grieve for her passing, at last I truly know who she was, and why the spirit was so important. For so long she told me, if only you could have heard it, brother. Now I understand. There's something else, isn't there?
I can't stay here, Aratak. And where I'm going, the Warak can't follow. Besides, it already had a chieftain before me. A strong one, I think.
A wiser one, for the path we shared. The daemon is gone, but there's much to be done.
You mean the new units that Cyan said escaped the cauldron?
Yes, fire claws. Now Tug has been tracking them from Song's Edge.
I could help with those.
I have no doubt. You're practically Banuk.
It would seem your time among the Banuk wasn't a waste after all. Firebreak, Cyan, Hephaestus. All very interesting.
So, the signal that woke Hades woke Hephaestus too. And unleashed them on the world. His minds of their own.
So it seems. Parts of Gaia given life. Aberrant life. Transformed from docile subordinate functions into rebellious intelligences beyond our understanding. Our current understanding, anyway. Whatever they are, they're still out there. And they both want you dead.
Kind of mutual, that feeling.
We haven't seen the last of Hephaestus, I'm certain of that. It's powerful, creative, and driven. It won't stop building new hunter-killers, which means that someday, we may have to stop it.
We?
Or whoever gets there first.
Hephaestus wasn't the only thing I learned about in the Cut Silence. Heard some things about the Banuk Conclave, too.
You can stop right there.
Is that what you told the hunters the Banuk sent after you? Before you opened fire?
Oh no, Aloy. Only to you do I extend the courtesy of a warning. My past and my secrets are my own. You do well to remember that.
It's a good thing you've got brains, Silence, because your personality could use some work.
This discussion is concluded.
I think it was over before it began. Catch up with you down the trail.
Ouais. On va le barrer cette affaire. On s'en fout, on s'en fout. Out of the forge. Ah, ici 5 fire clous à péter. Find the claws beneath. Faire ça aussi. Non, bah mort. Ah la fausse manip, c'est un peu dommage. Aloy, elle en avait marre, elle a sauté. J'en peux plus. Le suicide n'est pas la solution, les enfants, je vous le rappelle. Ah, du coup, il m'a pas pris le... Damage Tear Fire, c'est très bien ça. Oui, mais attends, il y a d'autres trucs que je peux faire en crafting aussi. Ça. Ah, et putain, les rats. Badger Bone. Old Skin. Badger Bone et Old Skin si je peux. Qu'est-ce que... Attends. Ah bah voilà, il y en a marre des trucs. Bien, bien, bien. Alors c'est par où la bestiole? C'est par là. Alors ça tombe bien parce que c'est pas ça que je veux faire en premier. J'ai fait ces trucs là. Si je peux avoir une old skin, ce serait bien aussi. Ce sera pas ce coup là. Ah bah voilà. Yes. Parfait ça. Il suffit de demander. No more upgrade available. Très bien. Donc Badger Bone. Puis si j'arrive à trouver du rat, rat de bone aussi. Mais Badger quoi. Badger ce sera le plus simple, je suis globalement sûr qu'il y en a dans cette zone là. Il y a beaucoup de chèvres aussi. Aïe. Ça de l'eau à bout. J'arrive pas à le toucher, c'est chiant. Voilà. Donc ça c'est fait, on va prendre le deuxième tuto. Machine et twist, Fireburst.
That's it. Thing to see here.
C'est très puissant. C'est très 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 puissant. Peut-être le garder. Ah bah tiens, Badger. Ah, ça va être le skin, ça va pas être... Enfin, ça va être la peau, ça va pas être les os, malheureusement. Même pas la peau, tiens.
Won't be hard to set
Hop.
like this.
Oh. Parfait. Oula, complètement à côté. C'est pas la chef que je voulais. Voilà. Alors les chèvres, ça fait du bruit quand même. Ah oui, il va y avoir lui à péter aussi, ça va être un peu plus sympa. On va peut-être changer de mission aussi. Out of the forge.
Just like in the cauldron.
Ça semble un peu plus dur, mais... Weakness au froid. Ouais. Si vous le dites. Ah, je suis passé de chez Water, merde.
One of the fire claws from Thunderstrom.
Oh, attends, toi tu vas peut-être m'aider. Ah, fuck! Si je peux te calmer 30 secondes, toi. S'il n'y avait pas lui, je peux y arriver. Bordel. Déjà, pas plus chier. Si je peux récupérer ça. Aïe. Pas de problème. Comme c'est ça. C'est insupportable. Il est où le truc? Oh putain, évidemment.
Looks with me.
balles, trop de balles. Bien sûr. Donc il anticipe complètement mes sauts. C'est bien. D'accord, d'accord. Non mais pas de problème, pas de problème, pas de problème. Je le vis bien. Alors prends ton arme, connasse, s'il te plaît. Voilà. Une chance de faire quelque chose avec ça. C'est impossible, ça met trop de temps à charger cette merde. Tant pis. Bien sûr. Voilà. Par contre j'ai pas de chill water, ça c'est chiant. Je vais voir si j'ai pas ça dans mes trucs que j'ai. Pas vraiment une chill water. Non. Pas de chance hein. J'ai plus de glace. D'accord.
Thought I found this.
Qu'est-ce que tu fais? C'est joli la neige. Bon YouTube, on va s'arrêter là pour cet épisode et puis on va continuer la chasse aux gros nounours qui font du feu juste après. Tout de suite.